Good evening and welcome to the virtual grand opening celebration for the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center. My name is John Carroll and I'll be your host tonight as we celebrate the opening of this amazing facility. Let me start by telling you a little bit about tonight's program. In just a moment, we'll share a video that was created just for this event. The video will give you a front row seat to all of the amazing things that are happening in the building, from sports performance and sports medicine to academics and research. You'll hear from the people who made this building a reality, and you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at many of the areas in action. At the end of the video, we have a few people live here in the studio who have some personal stories to share about the impact of the Hybl Center. If you have a question during the program, please use the YouTube chat. We'll be answering your questions there throughout the hour. Later in the show, we'll have the co-executive directors of the Hybl Center with us here in studio, and they'll be taking a few of your questions. So please drop your questions for them into the chat. Before we get to showing you the building and all that happens inside it, UCCS Chancellor Venkat Reddy is with us tonight to share a few words and welcome us. Thank you for joining us, Chancellor Reddy.
Thank you, John. And thank you all for joining us to celebrate the opening of the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center, created in partnership with Centura Health. I want to take just a moment to welcome you to our virtual grand opening. We plan to host a community grand opening so that every one of you could tour the building and meet the incredible faculty and physicians who work there. As with so many other events in the new normal, we are instead sharing our grand opening with you virtually. The Hybl Center is the first of its kind in the nation. It'll provide much needed health resources to our community and will support life-changing research. Through this facility, our faculty will expand research in sports medicine, and athletes will seek us out for knowledge and training. Nearest and dearest to my heart is what the Hybl Center will provide for our students: the ability to work side by side with faculty and physicians to prepare them for their future careers. So many individuals deserve thanks for helping to make our dream for this facility a reality. To each of you, I say thank you. My hope is that someday we can have that in-person celebration. For now, I want to again thank you for taking the time to learn more about the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center here on the UCCS campus. It truly represents the exciting future of UCCS and of Colorado Springs. And now, I hope you enjoy taking a look into the Hybl Center. Thank you.
Chancellor Reddy, thank you for that warm welcome and congratulations on this beautiful addition to your campus.
Thank you so much, John.
Now, before we show you the video, I'd like to offer a little background on this project. The idea for this building started almost a decade ago when the UCCS faculty determined there was an increasing need for graduates in health science and sports performance. Tonight, we'll show you how that vision became a reality. In 2014, this project was selected as one of the 4 City for Champions projects, right alongside the United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum, the Downtown Stadium project that includes the new Robeson Arena, and the proposed Air Force Academy Gateway Visitors Center. A short time later, UCCS selected Centura Health as the healthcare partner for this project. The two partners then sat down and designed a building unlike any other in the world, where clinical practice, graduate and undergraduate education and research are all connected. Let's hear now from the people who made the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center a reality.
Good evening. I'm Bill Hybl, and I'd like to welcome all of you to this virtual ceremony this evening. It's certainly an honor for me and my family to have this building named after us, and importantly, what it's going to do for this entire community. In fact, the entire state, and I believe the nation. What has been put together by the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and Centura Health is truly world-class.
As far as I know, this is the only center in the nation that really integrates clinical services and undergraduate and graduate education and research.
The Hybl Center is a result of leadership from two pillar organizations, UCCS and Centura Health, recognizing an opportunity and a need for this community and coming together to make something very special happen.
I'm excited about the entire building. The fact is, whether it's education, whether it's rehabilitation, whether it's actually dedication to increased performance, this building really has it all.
Students, teachers, researchers, rubbing elbows, collaborating with clinical caregivers, our excellent caregivers at Centura Health, is what's going to make this place super special.
We have traveled the world, looked at all the most wonderful sports medicine facilities across the country and even out of the country, and can say that this is really the only true facility that brings the academics and the clinical piece under one roof. So you've got undergraduate students that are studying alongside practicing physicians and surgeons and athletic trainers and physical therapists.
It's a long story. It started about 2012 when the university and the city of Colorado Springs had the foresight to ask the state and the City for Champions grant. Centura Health jumped in as the healthcare partner and brought to the table all kinds of energy and vision around the healthcare components. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, doctors, nurses, technicians meeting with academics, teachers, researchers, even students, and thinking about the things that could happen in this space and how those things could bring people to El Paso County, how they could benefit the two organizations and the people in the room, the students and the clinicians being together. So it's been an incredible process, and so excited to see where it goes from here. I think all of us involved don't really know where it's going to go next, but we know it's going to be good.
We believe that through this partnership, we could enhance our already strong educational research programs in healthcare and also serve the community through those resources.
Once the sports medicine component was added to the project, it became clear that we needed more than just a physician practice, for example. We needed a healthcare system that could benefit from the attributional opportunities created by all the relationships in the facility. So you need more than just orthopedic practice, for example. So that led to discussions with healthcare systems, which ultimately generated the relationship with Centura. If you look at the two organizations, UCCS and Centura, they've been long-term partners in the community, very committed to the Colorado Springs community, and I can't think of a better partnership.
We found with Centura Health a shared vision and a commitment to create a sport medicine performance center that integrates undergraduate and graduate education, which is geared towards experiential learning as well as research.
Centura and Penrose St. Francis have been caring for the sick and nurturing the health of this community for over 130 years. Now, I would suspect that the Sisters of St. Francis and the Sisters of Charity, the foundresses of Penrose Hospital and St. Francis Medical Center, probably didn't envision a center like this over 100 years ago. But coming together and putting something like this in the community that drives healing, hope, wellness, that's right in line with our mission.
In the end, I think that the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and Centura Health came together as the perfect partners in the Hybl Center project.
The fact that this is going to be a destination center, an international destination center for elite athletes and para-athletes is very exciting. But even more cool is that technology and everything that we're going to bring here is going to be available to anybody that wants to use it. You know, Colorado is full of weekend warriors and early morning athletes who want to perform at their best as well. And so creating a center like this for all of us is really, really special.
We understand movement. we understand biomechanics, and so when we're training our athletes, we know when you're sprinting, you're not just running down the track. We know your knee angle, your hip angle, how much force production you need. And so there's a lot of value in that for making sure what we're doing in sports performance training actually transfers to what you're doing in your sport.
Sports medicine and sports performance work together to really tie up or complete the loop for comprehensive care of the athlete. With sports performance here, it allows us to figure out why you ended up here and prevent you from having to come back and keep you healthy.
If you have an activity that you're passionate about, you should come into the Hybl Center and we can assess you and we can get you in the right program and make you feel comfortable, and just know that no matter what that activity is, we can help you achieve that goal specific to that.
I would define sports medicine as a comprehensive care of athletes, not just focusing on one part or organ system in the body, but the comprehensive whole body approach to an athlete. The Hybl Center has everything you could ever want as far as an athlete or an active person, as far as equipment, personnel, from athletic training staff to performance coaches to physicians, and state-of-the-art radiology, MRI, ultrasound, real-time X-ray, everything you could want in a one-stop sports medicine center. That research is going to be a big part at the Hybl Center. With the collaboration between UCCS and Centura, we have the opportunity to help be on the leading edge of new and improved medical procedures and treatments.
I see the Hybl Sport Medicine Performance Center attracting students, both undergraduate and graduate, not only just from the state of Colorado, but from around the nation and around the world. By 2021, the exercise science degree program alone will be attracting over 1,000 students to the center.
We designed the Hybl Center so that we have real good integration between the academics and clinical practice. So our students, our faculty are integrating with clinicians every single day.
So if you're an undergraduate student who's interested in a career in the biomedical sciences, literally from day one, you're going to enter a building for your education where all the stuff you think you may want to do is going on around you. So if you're pre-med, pre-physical therapy, pre-athletic training, you're interested in strength and conditioning, sports nutrition, all of those activities are happening all around you as a student in this building. So, and again, I don't know of any facility in the world that has these opportunities for undergraduate students.
Well, we have so many opportunities here. When you look at our facilities, we've really designed the facilities so you can do just about anything you'd want to do.
We have 14 instructional spaces in this building. We only have 5 typical classrooms, 5 didactic lecture type classrooms. So the rest, 9 of them are actually instructional laboratories, which combine experiential education and then the traditional didactic education. One of the really important components to the faculty here is to develop what we call interdisciplinary, interprofessional curricula. So we think that the next generation of medical practitioners will be based more on teamwork, less than on individuals. So this interprofessional component where you combine experts from different fields to solve health and medical problems, we think is paramount. So we are working really hard and looking forward, I think, over the next few years to develop a robust interprofessional curriculum.
For someone like me who studies altitude physiology, we've got altitude chambers, environmental chambers, we've got exercise labs, we've got biomechanics labs, we have rooms that are set up to do, sophisticated biochemical work. And we are in Olympic City, USA. We've got military installations all throughout the town. So we have a really unique population, and so we can serve different populations in different ways. For our athletes who are living and training at this altitude, it's kind of a common misperception that if you live at this altitude, you just magically get better at performing at sea level. That's not necessarily true. So we have rooms, environmental chambers and altitude rooms, where we can actually change the environment so they can train at different elevations. So just living here sometimes puts the athlete at a little bit of a disadvantage because they can't exercise quite as hard. So we can change the concentration of oxygen in the room and bring them to sea level and save them a trip on an airplane to go train at sea level. Vice versa, for someone who's trying to climb really tall mountains, It's hard to get above 14,000 feet in Colorado because we just don't have mountains that are higher. We can take our environmental chambers up to 18,000 feet and help them start to acclimatize. Same thing for our military performance. We can simulate high altitude cold environments. We can also simulate very hot humid environments as well. So we have a lot of different tools at our disposal.
The three centers of distinction are the Center for Tactical and Occupational Performance, designed to work with that underserved population of tactical and occupational athletes. An occupational athlete is someone who does a repetitive job without rest or recovery. The Center for Active Individuals and Athletes with Physical Disabilities is simply that, designed to work with athletes with physical disabilities. And the Center for Exercise and Nutrition as Medicine is designed to bring research and academic power to areas of chronic disease around things like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease.
You know, when you look at this project, I have to think of the vision of Venkat Reddy and Centura Health for what they are doing to truly have an impact on sports performance, education, and medicine within the Pikes Peak region, the state, and the nation.
The City for Champions tax increment financing that will be enjoyed by this project as well as the three other projects in the community is important because it will allow us to bring people from far and wide to our community, to the Hybl Center, to enjoy the unique benefits of this place.
This project would not have been possible without El Pomar Foundation. I'm grateful to Bill Hybl and Kyle Hybl and the entire El Pomar trustees for their support and belief in our university and in our community.
Bill Hybl is about excellence. His entire person, his entire career has been about excellence. And the Hybl Center and all of the programs within it, the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and Centura Health are also about excellence. And because of excellence, we're all here together, and I think it's a perfect match.
The Hybl name is legend in Colorado. Mr. Bill Hybl himself has been advisor to presidents. He's elected to the Colorado Business Hall of Fame. He has been the past president of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. He's been a delegate to the United Nations. So obviously a very well-known name. His son Kyle is now CEO and president of the El Pomar Foundation and just termed out of a seat on the Board of Regents for the University of Colorado system. So if you think about a name to associate with our building, and this is the first time the Hybl name has been associated with any building or project, I can't think of a better name. And we're proud. I think it exhibits some confidence in the project itself and in both organizations, but also it adds a sense of legitimacy immediately to the project. So again, I can't think of a better name to have associated with our project.
Bill Hybl is a philanthropic leader in our community and someone who's very committed to this community in Colorado Springs. Partner that with his leadership of the USOC and his commitment to sports performance, and you have a perfect marriage there. So it is extremely fitting to have Bill Hybl's name on this building.
Well, it's certainly an honor for me and for my family to have this building named. You know, sport is important in the Pikes Peak region, whether it's the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, whether it's sport for the military units that are stationed here, specifically dealing with sport. This is something that I know the mayor, when he talks about sport in our community and a community of champions, I think that captures it.
A project like this doesn't happen because of one or two individuals or one or two organizations. This was the effort of many. The Hybl Center is a great example of a collaborative project where the university, the healthcare organization, the city, the state, the university leadership, both at the system level, at the campus level, really came together to make this happen.
I think Steve Jobs said it best a long time ago, is that great things in business aren't accomplished by individuals, they're accomplished by groups of individuals. And our chancellor tends to say that projects like this take a village, and they're both absolutely right. I mean, this is, if anything, one of the best examples of teamwork and a village working together that I've ever been a part of, and been very proud to be a part of it.
I'd like to recognize the people on this project, and there were dozens and dozens that saw the potential from the very beginning.
UCCS, for sure, under the leadership of Chancellor Venkat Reddy, has been a wonderful partner through what is a very unique partnership. The City of Colorado Springs and the City for Champions initiative has been a wonderful partner. Donors, in particular Bill Hybl and the Hybl family, have been wonderful partners in this initiative. Have to also express gratitude to the two executive directors, Bill Lewick and Dr. Steve Johnson, who put in countless hours making this vision a reality. And of course, most importantly in my mind, are our practitioners who have come together, our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, physical therapists, our imaging specialists and nurses, all coming together and sharing their expertise to make this a reality.
The Hybl Center is in a unique position to offer hope. As sport and learning are two of the best expressions of hope, the Hybl Center will bring together those two things in this time of unrest and uncertainty, making this place really special as we move forward.
Our vision is that this is going to be a space to have elite athletes and para-athletes take their performance to the next level, but also for all of you, for people who value their wellness and their athleticism. This is going to be a place to help you make your dreams come true. So thank you for coming. We hope you enjoy what you see, and we hope that you'll become a long-term partner with the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center.
Well, what a great story. I think Bill Lewick said it best there when he talked about creating hope. Now that we all have a better understanding of everything that goes on inside the Hybl Center, I'd like you to meet a few very special people who are here with me in the studio. They each have a unique story of how the Hybl Center will impact our community. You just met Bill Lewick and Steve Johnson in the video. They are both here with us live tonight as well. And again, if you have a question, go ahead and post it in the chat, and they'll answer some of your questions live in just a few minutes. But before we get to Bill and Steve, the first person I'd like you to meet is Maya. Maya recently completed her undergraduate degree in exercise science here at UCCS, and you're going on to get a graduate degree. Well, thanks for joining us here. So you graduated in the spring, exercise science, and now going to graduate school. What is it that made you want to study exercise science?
Yeah, so when I first graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I took about 1,000 career aptitude quizzes, and I finally decided to major in math. I wanted to be a math teacher. My second semester of my freshman year, I was taking Calc 1 for my math major, and I was also taking anatomy and physiology just as an elective. And I ended up liking anatomy a lot more than calculus. So I decided to change my major, and I looked through UCCS's different majors in exercise science, or biology and like health, and I decided on exercise science just because the classes looked interesting. And I wanted something that would just give me a lot of options for after graduation, because I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go with it yet.
Oh, well, that's great. Very good. So obviously your future plans have a lot more school in them. What is your ultimate career goal, and how would you say your time here at UCCS has helped prepare you for that career?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on an MBA with UCCS with a focus in healthcare administration, and my ultimate career goal is to be a family medicine physician. So that's definitely a lot more school, 4 years of med school, 3 years residency. But the way that UCCS prepared me to be a physician is basically just helping me change my perspective on education. Because when I graduated high school, I kind of was in the mindset of just study for the test and then move on and just forget everything. But UCCS just taught me how to view education as more of a lifelong process, and that's definitely useful for my future career as a physician, because medicine is going to be a lifelong pursuit. You're never just going to arrive at success just because you've graduated medical school or residency or won some award, but it should just be continual growth and improvement throughout your career. So.
Well, as if the academics aren't enough, you are also a student athlete. Talk a little bit about how being an athlete maybe has helped you when you were studying exercise science and may help you now as you move on toward medical school.
Yeah, so I feel like being a student athlete really helped me to learn how to deal with setbacks in a positive way. Because, you know, as a student athlete, you're not going to have every race or every workout go perfectly. And it's important to just take a step back during those disappointments and look at what you did right, look at what you could do better. Just be open to feedback, too, from your coaches. And I found that it's like the same way with education during my undergraduate degree in exercise science, and I expect it's going to be the same way with medical school, because we've all had those moments where, you know, as a student in a class, your first class of the semester, you think you did everything you could do to study for that test, and you feel really confident, and you get your grade back, and you're like, what? Like, I thought I knew this. And that's when it's important to just not freak out and to just look at what you did right, look at what you could do better, and just be really open to talking to your professors. Because here at UCCS, the faculty, they really care about your success, and they want you to ask them questions. So
that's an amazing perspective. And you mentioned faculty. The faculty, of course, are the heart of any academic program. Talk a little bit about how your exercise science faculty here at UCCS sort of helped with your education.
Yeah, so I feel like what really stood out to me about the faculty here is that they're just really passionate about what they're teaching. So just because they're so excited about what they're trying to teach us, it made me just motivated to be more excited and to just feel open to asking them questions, because they're also really approachable, and they made it obvious that they really cared about our success, not just in the classroom, but also beyond. So that was a big way that the faculty just helped me throughout my education. And I talked to them a lot, like just went to their office hours a lot and talked about not just the class I was in, but also just different career options in the field of exercise science. And they were always willing to talk with me. And that was a big part in my decision of just deciding to pursue medicine, just being able to have those conversations with them.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of great input along the way. What would you say to a high school student who might be watching and may be considering following in your footsteps and studying exercise science?
Yeah, so I would say that the great thing about exercise science just in general is that it's a pretty broad field. There's a lot you can do with it. It doesn't lock you into doing one specific thing. Sometimes that can get a little overwhelming though, because there's so many different careers you can do. There's so many different things you can focus on. And that's the great thing about the Hybl Center now, is that students have the opportunity to work with different providers and clinicians. And I feel like that is just having that experience just integrated throughout your academic program is just really helpful. So you can chat with physicians, physical therapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and just see what it is that you like.
Well, Maya, thank you for sharing those encouraging words. You've had a fantastic experience. You've got a ways to go here yet, but it sounds like everything is just lining up perfect. And so maybe someday we'll meet again and you'll be Dr. Maya.
Maybe.
Best of luck. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, I've been told that the faculty have been getting inquiries from prospective students from around the state and around the nation who have already heard about the Hybl Center and would like to come here to learn as well. The building was designed for more than 1,000 students per day to go to class and complete their research in this facility. Well, now I'd like to introduce you to another guest here in the studio. She is Annie, a high school athlete taking advantage of the sports performance training program here at UCCS and at the Hybl Center. Annie, what brought you to seek performance training here at the Hybl Center just as a high school student?
Yeah, so my soccer team has had the opportunity to train at the Hybl Center these past couple months, and it has been such a great opportunity for me personally, as well as I know a lot of my teammates have really enjoyed it, and I'm just so thankful to have the opportunity.
Well, how has your current training program benefited you already?
I think I've already seen so much progress. Just overall, I feel like a more strong and just capable athlete, just not even just in soccer, but just as an athlete.
So this is not just geared for a soccer player, but any sport, it sounds like.
Yes.
What's different about performance training here at the Hybl Center that maybe you couldn't have found anywhere else?
I think the biggest difference for me that I've noticed is just the facility and how nice it is and the equipment that we are able to use, as well as the trainers. They've been super helpful with us, just getting us where we need to be, and just the technology that we're able to use in our training. And some of it I haven't seen before, and I think being able to train in all different areas and have all different ways of training has really benefited our team so far, and I think it will continue to do so.
Well, obviously, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Talk a little bit about your personalized training program and what are some of the methods of training that you're doing to optimize your performance?
I think as a soccer player, you know, mainly working on speed and strength as well as injury prevention, I think in our training program, they've done a really good job of implementing a little bit of each in every session that we do. And having that, I feel like makes us better, well-rounded athletes overall.
Well, when you complete your training at the Performance Center, what do you hope to do that maybe you couldn't have done before?
Personally, and I know a lot of my teammates have the goal of playing soccer in college, and I think that having this experience to train at such a high level at the Hybl Center with such nice equipment and new equipment, I think that that will prepare us a lot better moving forward in our college process.
Well, Annie, it sounds like as a soccer player, all your goals are lining up perfectly. Best of luck to you, and thanks for coming on and sharing with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, we want to wish you all the best of luck in your athletic and academic career. Annie's story is a great example of how the Performance Center can help athletes of all ages and abilities reach their full potential. There are sports performance programs for youth, high school athletes, endurance athletes, recreational athletes, even those who may be trying to return to sports following an injury. Now, join me in welcoming Pat Leahy to the program. Pat is a physical therapist in the Hybl Center and brings a firsthand perspective of the care that patients are receiving in the clinics. Pat, appreciate you joining us here. And if you could, just start out by talking a little bit about a patient you recently treated and what was their specific obstacle?
I recently had a young lady who had about a 9-month history of leg pain with running, and that pain just was unrelenting. She had received treatment at college, chiropractic treatment, other outside therapies, and her pain was unrelenting over the course of the last 9 months.
What other activities did that obstacle prevent her from engaging in?
Primarily running, but running is her passion. And if you know anything about distance runners, when you take running away from them, they can get very testy.
Yeah, it doesn't put them in the best of moods,
No,
I'm
it
sure.
does not. No, it does not.
But we know people have different options when it comes to sports medicine care. What was it that Centura Sports Medicine was able to do for that patient that no one else could?
Well, first of all, we have some pretty incredible state-of-the-art equipment. In her instance, we offered a load-reducing treadmill, which was able to unweight her up to 90% of her body weight. We could take 90% of her body weight away and allow her to walk, run, as well as adjust according to her pain tolerance. Another piece of equipment that we have that is rather unique is a low-level laser therapy, and that allows us to improve tissue healing and speed it up. But the most important thing that we offer is our comprehensive team. Our physicians, our PAs, our nurse practitioners, our PTs, and our athletic trainers. It's the whole group of us that makes the clinic what it is. We just happen to have an incredible background and incredible equipment.
Yeah, that treadmill sounds amazing. So I guess they can get the range of motion without the load bearing, the weight.
Yes, yes. They put on a special pair of shorts and we zip them into it and fill it with air. And so we can adjust by percentage from taking 1% up to 90% of their body weight away.
Wow.
Reducing a lot of stress on their body.
So that's great for individual athletes. Everyone's going to be different. What about your patient's treatment process? What methodologies did you use to get them back on their feet?
The first thing we did was we introduced the low-level laser, and it has the ability to provide a massaging effect as well, which is pretty unique. We followed that up with some what we call instrument-assisted therapy, where we use tools to improve the pliability of the tissue around her injury. And then we ultimately put her on the load-reducing treadmill, gradually increasing her weight-bearing status as she was able to run comfortably. And the look on her face when she was able to run 10 minutes without pain was priceless.
Well, how about a patient progress report? What is she able to do now that she couldn't do before?
Well, she has returned to some running. She has returned to college at a different university, and her goal for this fall is to compete in a triathlon, which is going to include a fair amount of running.
And I'm sure her mood improved quite a bit too.
Quite a bit.
All right, Pat Leahy, thank you so much for being here with us tonight and sharing the story of that patient. And I am sure there will be plenty more success stories like that to follow.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. We've shared a lot with you this evening, and you probably have a few questions. We're thankful to have both Bill Lewick and Steve Johnson with us here this evening. Bill and Steve are the co-executive directors for the Hybl Center. They have both been part of this project from design to construction, now to operations, so they are the perfect people to answer your questions. As we have noted tonight, the Hybl Center is a partnership between UCCS and Centura Health. Bill Lewick can answer your questions because he has represented Centura on this project since day one, so he's familiar with the design of the building, as well as the healthcare and sports performance programs that are offered. Bill, great to have you here tonight. This must be very rewarding to see, take this from step one to where it is now.
I have to pinch myself every day when I come to work these days.
Well, the sports performance area looks really high tech. Is this something that's just for elite athletes?
No, John, not at all. The Hybl Center welcomes athletes of all ages and abilities. It may seem a bit intimidating to be on a university campus with all these fancy whiz-bang pieces of equipment, but we balance this with a real individualized approach. For example, we offer junior programs to kids 10 to 13. We offer prep programs to high school age students, as you just heard. And of course, we offer adult programs to endurance athletes, recreational athletes, and tactical athletes. Generally put, we tailor a very individualized program to athletes of all ages and abilities.
Oh, that's great. That's like we mentioned earlier. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. In the video, you briefly described the centers of distinction. Can you share a little more about what those are and who benefits from them?
Well, first, John, I think we should mention that as the myriad teams developed this center, we thought about the natural resources here in Colorado Springs, our altitude, our topography, our love of the outdoors, our military neighbors, our sports economy. And we built on those things into these three centers of distinction. The Center for Athletes and Active Individuals with Physical Disabilities seeks to serve a population that traditionally is underserved. It may be one of the most, the center about which I'm most excited, and it really lines up with the mission of Centura Health and the mission of the university as well. The Center for Tactical and Occupational Athletes also serves an underserved population. In fact, I think a population that has what may be some of the most difficult jobs in all the world at the moment. And finally, the Center for Exercise and Nutrition as Medicine. And it is here where we'll use exercise and nutrition to treat specific disease states. And we'll also build on exercise and nutrition as that key component of a natural, healthy lifestyle. One of our researchers, Dr. Inigo San Milan, and a member of the faculty at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, often says that if we could only bottle the effects of exercise and healthy nutrition, it would be the most efficacious drug in all the world.
If only we could, right?
If only we could.
What would be the difference between seeing a doctor in your sports medicine clinic and just me going to my regular doctor?
Well, I think, John, the biggest difference is this interdisciplinary or multi-professional care model that we use at the Hybl Center. When you come to see a doctor at the Hybl Center, you might see a primary care sports medicine physician, an orthopedic surgeon, a sports cardiologist, a sports psychologist, maybe a pulmonologist, or you might see just one of those providers, but all of those providers will be working together in the background. We set up this building so that they can interact together and provide the very best possible care. I think the second way that you would see a difference is by the inclusion of the academics and the research component in the building itself. Generally put, it imparts a level of excitement and energy to the care you'll receive that you may not find in other places. And finally, I think it's the proximity to the state-of-the-art performance center that we've talked about a little bit in the previous interviews. So imagine recovering from a knee injury. You go see your doctor at the Hybl Center, maybe your orthopedic surgeon, then you have access to state-of-the-art, world-class imaging right there in the building. Never have to leave. Then you see a physical therapist like Pat, whom you met earlier. And while you're rehabbing with Pat, you're looking out literally into the next room while young athletes, UCCS athletes from maybe the fire department, athletes from our partners at Switchbacks Football Club or Pride Soccer Club are working out in the gym, the state-of-the-art gym right next to you. It's an incredibly energetic and nurturing environment.
This is definitely not my father's doctor's office, that's for sure. You've mentioned state-of-the-art several times. What are some of the latest and greatest technologies that are being employed in the new center?
Well, we're using, I mentioned the imaging center. We have a 3 Tesla MRI magnet run by our partners at Penrad Imaging. We have state-of-the-art GE X-ray units, ultrasound units, a very special athlete-focused EKG machine. And of course, there's all the whiz-bang stuff that you've heard about already in the Performance Center.
Well, it sounds like a lot, and it sounds like a crown jewel for sports medicine here in our area. And we've already mentioned people inquiring about it from not around the state only, but the nation as well. So congratulations and continued success with this, and thanks for joining us. Bill Lewick. Now, this amazing new facility is something else. During the video, Dr. Erling talked about how Centura has been serving the Colorado Springs community for well over 125 years. The Hybl Center is just one more example of how Centura continues to care for the community. So we want to thank you and Centura Health for continuing that legacy, along with Bill. Steve Johnson is the co-executive director of the Hybl Center, also a faculty member here at UCCS. And at its core, the Hybl Center was designed as an academic and research facility. So having Centura as a partner only expands the experiences for our students and our researchers. So I want to invite Steve Johnson up here now from UCCS, take a few more questions to talk about that. Again, congratulations to you as well. It's got to be very wonderful and rewarding to see this all come together now. So from an academic standpoint, can you talk a little about the experiential learning that undergraduate students in particular will be exposed to through their lab work at the Hybl Center?
You bet, John. As we mentioned in the video, we have really focused on the experiential side of education. I think all of us are familiar with the traditional didactic side where an expert drones on in front of a large group of students who take notes and don't necessarily participate in the learning activity. In our building, most of the instructional facilities are actually what we call instructional laboratories, which is a combination of experiential and didactic. So it allows the instructor to pivot very quickly from a typical didactic lecture into an experiential mode. So instruction in exercise physiology, strength and conditioning, biomechanics, sports nutrition, body composition, human physiology and anatomy is all based around instructional laboratories that will combine both didactic and experiential education.
Well, Bill mentioned nutrition several times as being a big part of this. How is it different, say, than a culinary degree? What would they do with that degree after college?
Well, a culinary degree focuses on kind of the art and science of combining and preparing foods for both taste and nutrition. Those students are going to end up in perhaps restaurants or the food industry. The other two degrees or two areas of nutrition that we focus on, one is registered dietitians, RDs, who will complete a bachelor's degree and then go on through experiential opportunities and a test to become a registered dietitian. They'll typically work in healthcare settings. They focus on the role of nutrition in health and disease. On the other hand, a sports nutritionist focuses on the special needs of athletes. You and I need each day about 2,000 calories. Well, an athlete or a very active individual is going to need 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 times the amount of calories. So it becomes very complicated to understand the composition of the diet, the amount of protein, fat, carbohydrate required to support high levels of physical activity. It varies by sport, it varies by season, it varies by whether the athlete's actively training or recovering. So it's really an exciting area. And students in that field go on to work for professional teams. So think football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse. Almost any sport you can think of now incorporates sports nutritionists in their teams. Same things with college athletes as well. And they also might end up in orthopedic practices. Several have incorporated sports nutritionists. So there are a lot of opportunities. We graduate 12 to 15 students in our master's program each year, and all of them go on to great careers.
Well, that's a great testament right there. Trying to do a little homework, and I was reading up on the Hybl Center, and I came across something called collision spaces. What does that mean?
Yeah, it sounds a little scary, I'll admit.
Yeah.
One of the main goals of the Hybl Center is to create programs of interprofessional, interdisciplinary education and clinical practice. And to support that, we scattered throughout the building areas that are dedicated to allowing people to come together and just have casual conversations. So they're comfortable, they're quiet, and they're everywhere in the building, literally. So the point of these collision spaces, which is what we call them, is to give people a chance to sit down and discuss areas of cooperation, ideas they may have, and really just support interaction of both students, clinical faculty, and practicing faculty as well.
Dr. Andy mentioned in the video he's doing research on altitude and performance. What are some of the other things being studied?
Great question. Dr. Sabuti focuses on environmental physiology, specifically the altitude side of that question, but there's also thermoregulation and sports performance in hot, humid environments. So we have several faculty who are interested in that. We have faculty who do research in biomechanics, golf swing analysis. We have faculty who are very interested in the new field of metabolomics and the role of carbohydrate metabolism in the treatment of cancer, the effect of diet on gut microbiome, the effect of the gut microbiome on human performance and sport performance. So, as Andy mentioned, actually, in the video, the building was designed to support almost anything we could imagine at the time. So literally, faculty are engaged in a wide variety of research activities.
Well, that's wonderful, and thank you for taking a few minutes to join us here. Steve Johnson, faculty here at UCCS. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
Well, we want to thank Bill, Steve, and everyone for joining us here tonight. That brings us to the close of tonight's program. I want to again thank our guests and thank you for taking the time to learn more about the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Program. If you want to sign up for a sports performance program, make an appointment with a physician from Centura Sports Medicine, or check out one of the great degree programs offered here. I encourage you to check out the website, hyblcenter.org. I also encourage you to follow the Hybl Center on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you again for joining us, and hope you have a great evening.